Well, a happy Sunday to you folks. Welcome to Got Your Back, short shift, live stream edition. This might be some technical fun. You might be in for a bit of a ride if you hang in here on the live stream this morning because already it's been, technically challenging, I think we'll say. As you can see, look at this shot. It's not quite constructed properly. Got the Got Your Back logo hanging awkwardly over my head. This is what you get when you try and, host a show, produce, manage a couple live streams all at the same time. It gets to be a little bit much, but we're not giving up. So I'm not going to stop it midstream. Whatever happens, happens. We're going to join Jason Strudwick in a second here, so by all means, stay along for the ride. We're going to talk lots about last night's game against the Colorado Avalanche. Look, I'm just going to cut to a two-shot. There's Struddy. We can't hear you yet, Struds. I'll bring in Jason Strudwick in just a second. Had to get off that one shot. Streaming today on Twitter and on YouTube. So we had lots of requests to get streaming on YouTube, and so I gave myself a little tutorial on how to do that. And I hope it worked. I think we're on YouTube. According to this monitor over here, we're up on YouTube as well. Got Your Back Short Shift Edition brought to you by Mid-City Construction Management, a locally owned family company specializing in civil construction projects for over 40 years. And safety is so important to the crew at Mid-City. They're top of the class when it comes to making sure things are done above board and beyond required standards. They're real leaders in their industry in this regard. They make sure their employees get home safe and sound, and they wish the same to all of you as well. Mid-City Construction Management, a great family-owned company. Dan and the crew down there are fantastic, and a great local success story as far as the construction industry goes. Okay, Struddy, can you hear me? Jason Strudwick, check.
Oh, I can hear you, big guy. How are you doing today?
This is the look and feel of relief on my face as I hear your voice and I have you on the live stream with me here today. Few technical issues. Hey, we can't get your video in for some reason. We had some issues there. I feel like that was on your end, though. I'm not going to own that one. I think something's wrong with your tech.
Okay. Yeah, it might be. There's a chance that could happen. I honestly, I wouldn't be able to tell you if we were my fault. And I mean, I don't know. I do the same thing every time, and this time I did it. It didn't work, so I don't know. Maybe I'm off today.
You got to just give me that one because there's enough else going wrong that if I can kind of shift a little bit of blame over onto you for all of this, then it makes me feel a little bit better.
It's no problem. I don't assign blame, right? I do it passive aggressively through text that I'll send later to the group.
I appreciate the team. I appreciate the team environment. Okay,
exactly.
So on the live stream today, I'm gonna try and monitor some comments if I can. Send us your thoughts if you want to talk a little bit about the Oilers and the Avalanche last night. So we'll try and get to the Weiss Johnson Twitter mentions and try and let people weigh in here as you and I get to discussing what happened last night. I'll monitor YouTube as well, though I'm not sure I can do both at once. So we'll do the best we can here. And we'll see how this goes. Hey, this is our test drive. Multiple platforms streaming all at once. And by the way, if the stream just suddenly cuts out, I'm not going to stop. We'll just finish the podcast and then we'll regroup and apologize for all that afterwards. So just hang in there with us no matter what happens, folks. Okay, Struddy, let's get to the game last night. 3-2 overtime loss to the defending Stanley Cup champions. And the Oilers, once again, like the fourth time in the last 5 or maybe 6 home games where they had a 2-goal lead and let it slide away. Jay Woodcroft painted a picture last night of the way he felt that game went. And I'm going to let him paint his picture after I hear from you. What did you think? What's your summary of what the drill was last night?
I thought the Oilers played an excellent specialty teams game. I thought they came out and, they're very solid on the specialty teams. 5-on-5, there wasn't the jump or the push that I believe is required to compete with a Stanley Cup team, even though they were missing quite a few of their top players. They found their rhythm 5-on-5, I thought, towards the end of the game in third. And then, quite honestly, the top players of the Avs just shone a little bit brighter than the Oilers' top players did last night. In a nutshell, that's it.
Yeah, so you like the specialty teams, but 5-on-5, I mean, I don't think that this game was very close for 40 minutes, 5-on-5. I think the Oilers, they got schooled 5-on-5 for the first couple of periods. And the stats kind of bear this out. I'm going to let you hear, as we go to the Weiss Johnson sound box, what Jay Woodcroft had to say last night. It's a bit of a longer clip, but I want to be fair to him, so I'm going to play the whole thing. He was basically flat out asked, what did you make of the game? And here's Jay Woodcroft postgame.
Well, I thought it was a really competitive hockey game. Obviously, I thought our special teams were very good tonight. They got a 5-on-5 goal and a 4-on-4 goal that we'd like to have back. In overtime, we hit the crossbar 2 times, and they have some special players. We have some special players, and special players on both teams made good plays tonight. And in the overtime, he was able to find the back of the net, and we hit the crossbar twice. So I think in the long run, it's an important point for us. I thought our team did some good things out there. Obviously, we'd like to have closed them out, but they're the Stanley Cup champs. They pushed back, and I thought, as I said, I thought there's lots of positive to take out of it, but we would have liked to have had the 2.
Okay, so obviously they wanted the 2 points, but Struds, I feel like Woodcroft painted a picture of like, man, 2 teams just going at it back and forth equally. We made a few more mistakes than they made. Boy, good hockey game and way to go. I feel like that was kind of the picture that he painted in his post-game comments. 34% shot share last night for the Oilers, 25% in the first period, 29% in the second period. That's at even strength. And then they balanced it out, to your point, in the third at 45% shot share. Chances 30-10 Avs, this according to Natural Stat Trick. I don't think that this was close 5-on-5. I think the Avalanche hit a pile of posts. There could have been some real separation there had they not. He paints a picture like their overall game has been getting better, like the last 3-4 games or so. And I do agree with that. But I don't think that was the case last night against a watered-down Avalanche team, Struds. I think he's putting a little bit of lipstick on the pig there.
Well, I think your key point there is watered down. No Nikushkin, no Landeskog up front, which would dramatically change the look of their top 6. And then you include probably their 3rd and 4th best defenseman. Not probably, their 3rd and 4th best defenseman. Maybe their 2nd best defenseman, Bowen Byram. And then Josh Manson. So that would dramatically change the look of their back end too. So it was a watered down version, not watered down in your bottom, but your top. A lot of your top guys were out for the Avs. Now, there's no doubt that 5-on-5 in the first 2 periods, the Oilers were not carrying the play. But I like that they found a way to kind of get it going in the third. And it wasn't because they got down. Now they did, the Avs did tie it, but they started playing the way I think they need to play. And if you go back to the previous game with Holloway's goal, that was a 5-on-5 shift, what I call half-court offense. And they don't have that often enough. It's oftentimes kind of on the rush, maybe get the puck back for a quick second, but there's no holding the puck, hanging, being heavy, playing heavy hockey, where it changes the momentum for the other team and it kind of tilts the ice into their end. That's the kind of hockey I think is really important to have against really skilled teams. You keep it in their end. If you go back to Nathan McKinnon's goal, Costin gets the puck and just kind of loses the handle and isn't able to hold on to that puck and kind of either toss it back in the corner or tight turn back down the wall and keep it down there. And if he does that, McKinnon doesn't just surprise those 2 D-men and blow past them. I mean, that's a pretty big if, but that's the game, right? That's how you have to play. And that's an area that I think I've been really pushing for the Oilers is half-court offense. We can talk about scoring on the rush. The power play is doing it. It seems like the penalty kill is starting to get some traction. But that half-court offense is needed. It's required. And, he might get better when Kane comes back, but he's not on the ice for 60 minutes.
Yeah. No, good point. Well, listen to Jay Woodcroft, his breakdown as we go back to the Weiss Johnson soundbox of Nathan McKinnon's high-caliber goal.
McKinnon, as you said, skates not the exact same way as Connor, but he's a powerful skater. He gallops, and if he gets ahead of steam, he's hard to handle. But I go back to, we had the puck on our stick in the offensive zone. We turned it over.
Yeah, and that was your point there about Costin, turnover there. Now, Nathan McKinnon, next to McDavid in terms of explosiveness, he's a different kind of fast, right? He's a powerful fast. He can't cut left and right quite as quickly. He's more of a speed train on the tracks. But man, can that guy ever generate power and speed at the same time. How much fault do you actually give Darnell Nurse and Cody Ceci? Because there's part of me that goes, great players are going to great players sometimes, right? That's just going to happen. Then there's another part of me that goes, it's a $9 million defenseman. He's as agile as they come. And you know, I know Ceci was the first one that got beat, but I thought he was a little more flat-footed. I thought Nurse was the one that maybe had the time to read it and get over. Or am I being too hard on both these guys because that's Nathan Flippin McKinnon?
Yeah, I'm quite critical of the Oilers defensemen, and not critical, but I try to be, just I always look at it through, could they have done something more? And I'm going to put this on Costin here. He's got to hold that puck down low.
Really?
They're not expecting that puck.
There can be more than one mistake on a play, though, Struds. Like, you can have a mistake at one end and then a mistake at the other, and it doesn't mean the goal's on the first mistake. Was there a second mistake then? I'll be more specific. How do you think the defenseman played that?
When I look at the other side, when I say, let's say Connor McDavid dekes through three guys and scores, I always say, well, that was a really good play. You come back to the bench, what do you say to your D coach? Your D coach is like, well, try to stay in his way. Yeah, we're trying to do that. But McKinnon, I thought, got the jump, and he skates so differently than McDavid. He's just pure power. Just exudes power every time he strokes the ice. So I guess you can put a little bit of blame on their feet, but that's probably the second, I think the most powerful skater in the league coming at you, and he just skated right through them. So I honestly, I really believe it's on Costin to keep that puck down low. That is the job. That's the role. So you want to assign blame 80-20, I guess, but I mean, it's Nathan McKinnon coming at you, right? And you're right. Darnell Nurse is a good skater. CC is pretty solid, but they're not killing the car.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I blame those guys either. Like I said, I was a little bit torn on it. I agree the mistake was there from Costin. The mistake from Costin is what caught Ceci flat-footed, so he just got walked around. Darnell Nurse had a second where he could have come over and cut off the middle, hesitated a little bit. McKinnon takes the space and gets around him. I'm more apt to just think that's an unreal play from an unreal player, and like you said, we've seen McDavid do that. Let's go to the overtime winner. The number of skills that were on display there from Cale Makar, but there was a really subtle play from Nathan McKinnon. I'll talk about it in a second here, but what did you think about just what we saw from Makar? And when you look at the guys that he was going around and the play that he made, that's another just all world play, Struddy.
Yeah. Cale Makar was on fire last night, and I love watching him play. I think right after McDavid, I'm talking right after. He's my favorite player to watch in the NHL with Mikko Rantanen. So my three favorite players to watch in the NHL were on the ice, and Adam Fox, but we don't get to see him much. But those three guys, and specifically Makar, was absolutely in the zone last night. He was all over the place. And he turns the corner on Hyman. And, Hyman's kind of answer. I think that McDavid's expecting Hyman to kind of at least stay with him and push him to the side. That's why McDavid's maybe just outside the top. He tries to get back inside, but it's too late because McDavid's coming. And now it's kind of a broken 2-on-1. And, Darnell's like, okay, what am I, you trying to figure out what the play is, but it happens so quick. You have no time to react. Boom, goal. So Makar, he was, incredible. And I will highlight two spots for him. One was the direct one-on-one that he and McDavid had. And he was just kind of like, yeah, okay, you want to do this? You want to race? Let's go. And he was so calm. It was no problem. Later in the game, I don't know if you noticed it, but it was on a power play or an ass power play. McDavid got the puck, and he challenges those D-men. You saw who it was, slowed up, chopped it down. The Makar effect is real, and this guy is only going to get better. He is. I've never ever seen another D-man play McDavid like Makar does, and it is a treat to watch because. And it's not that I'm saying he's better than McDavid, but it's a treat to watch two masters of the craft and skating go at it. It's beyond even anyone's reach in the NHL, I believe, those two guys.
Cale Makar played 33 minutes and 9 seconds.
Crazy.
That's insane. And then to have the energy that he had to make the winning play, score that goal just on an unreal play like that in overtime. He is an absolute freak of nature in both his mobility and speed and skill and ability, but also in his stamina and his ability to pile up massive minutes. We see that in McDavid. We see that in Draisaitl too. It takes incredible players and makes them superhuman when you add that level of stamina. The one play I want to mention on that goal, if you go back and take a look, I actually tried to build a screenshot to show people. I don't know if I should try this or not because it literally might tank this entire thing. So there was a pick that Nathan MacKinnon threw very subtly on Connor McDavid. As Cale Makar grabs the puck and heads up ice, McKinnon is skating towards the benches and he bumps into Connor McDavid. I'm going to try and show people. There it is. So he bumps into Connor McDavid. And it tied up McDavid for like an eighth of a second. But then when you look at Makar putting in that game-winning goal, McDavid's stick was right there. If he had that eighth of a second back, probably would have been able to break up that play. So a real subtle play from Nathan MacKinnon coming cross ice in overtime and throwing a pick on Connor McDavid that I thought was impressive. Appreciate the comments that are coming in. We're going to get to the Weiss Johnson inbox, and a reminder that it's a great time of year to look into a furnace for the garage, and they got a fantastic deal going right now till the end of January. No GST on all garage heater installations. Also, 20% off all in-stock air conditioners when you purchase a furnace. So a couple of great deals. Also, if you're a business owner, Weiss Johnson provides a wide range of services. So give them a call to find out more. 780-463-3096. Okay. We get GSB chiming in here over on YouTube. That picture of Struddy looks like handsome Squidward not trying to be mean. The problem is, Struds, you can't even see the picture I have up of you right now. You know what I'm going to do?
I'm taking a lot of heat.
You're taking a lot of heat. Okay, here's what I'm going to try and do. This is way pushing my skills too far here. I am going to take a picture of the picture that I have of you, and we'll get you to comment although it's coming in on your phone, so you might not be able to get it.
Okay.
So maybe, anyways, I sent the picture there of you that I'm using, and you can tell me if you disapprove. If you disapprove, I can try and change this picture if you want. But again, it might go horribly wrong.
No, it's fine.
Do you see it?
I don't mind it.
I mean, it's a few years ago. Like there's a little more hair up there than I think the live stream.
Less stress.
Less stress. A little more hair, a little less stress.
I don't think it's awful. I thought I was expecting something a lot worse.
No, I wouldn't throw you under the bus like that, pal. I'm a team player. We'll make fun, but I'm not going to leave you hanging like that. Rick Spangler says, I get that we do not need a PC desperation move, but we need something to even know Ken Holland is alive and seeing what his fan base is seeing. I'm not sure what happened to this team. So we're still kind of breaking down the game, and we'll get into discussions about the big picture and potential trades there. Rick, but your point is well taken. It's a restless time for Oiler fans right now, and I think understandably so. They are not where fans thought that they would be, especially in the standings, quality of play, the whole bit. And that's got to be frustrating for a fan base that wanted to see this team take a step. Mike Dirks chimes in and says, collegiate Struds ready to cram for his midterms.
Pre-med. I think it was pre-med.
Yeah, pre-med. Tiger Bomb Bisque says, great chin, Struddy. You know what? Strong chin in that picture. And you got the dimple going, and yeah, strong chin. I would agree with that. Okay, so I did something last night. I put out a tweet, and I got absolutely ratioed and decimated for it. So I want to get your opinion on it. And it's not that big a deal. I don't think it was a massive mistake. I'm not even sure if I still think it was a mistake or not. It was a thought I had in the moment I tweeted it. And then people just piled on to me, which was kind of fun. Most of them were respectful. The timeout. Let's talk about the timeout. So the Oilers were up 2-0 at the time. They had just gotten through 1 minute and 47 seconds of another power play where they didn't get much done. And they drew another penalty. That meant 13 seconds of 5-on-3 time, but their top unit was pretty gassed, and they really hadn't got much done on that power play. It was one of those ones where you were like, they kind of let that one go to waste. Rather than throw the second unit on the ice or keeping McDavid and Draisaitl out there and replacing the rest of them, they used their timeout. And they strategize for a 13-second 5-on-3. So they blew their timeout to strategize and keep their top unit out there. An aggressive move from Woodcroft, who wanted to go for the kill. I tweeted that I didn't love it. And like 99.7% of the people completely disagreed with me. What do you think, Struds?
Well, I actually hit you up with my burner account too. I saw that tweet and I hammered on you. Yeah, I didn't want to get.
If I ever find out the name of that thing, man, you will be blocked. So flipping fast.
It was at Terry Ryan 27. I hammered that you. No, I like Jay's mentality. I like it. I think the way the game was going, you could see that the Oilers power play. Well, I mean, not just to last night, but it's been hot. And they had just scored. I think if you get to 3, he probably felt if you got to 3 that this game is probably not unreachable, but you feel pretty good about where you're going. So I like the fact that they rested them, called the timeout, rested them. I don't know if it was strategizing for a 5-on-3. I think there's a little bit of that, but I think it was more just to give those guys a blow, get them rested, and then put them back out there and hopefully kill them because they weren't getting a lot of 5-on-5. And I think this was an opportunity to kind of put this game, not away, but at least in a really tough spot for the Avs. So I liked it because, I'm not sure when else, if they got down, let's say they got down 3-2 with 2 minutes to go, and then a timeout, then you could probably reverse course and say, okay, it probably been better, second guess it. But I think the way it played out, I don't think it affected anything later on in the game. So I liked it. I really thought it was a really good use of this timeout.
Okay. Well, and I love it. It's a great debate. I'm going to thank Dr. Gonzo here as we go back to the Weiss Johnson mentions. Terrible timeout. Woodcroft was smoking the devil's lettuce. I don't think he was doing that, but he agrees with me. Bad timeout. Okay, over here, S.J. Carruthers says we used to rip Tippett for never using his timeout. Use every tool you got to win. Verge Clay says timeout was brilliant. Yeah, I get it didn't work, but I was thinking they should do it before they did. And Tiger Bomb says great chin, Stretty. Oh, I read that one already. That's sorry. Wanted to reiterate that. I got a lot of mentions. I got a lot of responses on Twitter too, which I appreciate. And there were some good debates. Dan Tenser actually chimed in and said, thought the opposite. Jay has watched his team get caved in at even strength all night. Only chance to win without a major 180 is special teams need to maximize top guys in that situation, which I thought was a really good point and made me second guess myself. But listen, here's where I will make a bit of an argument. And this is a bigger picture argument, and Jay Woodcroft is in a get 2-point headspace, and I completely understand that. But I think if you look at the distribution of ice time and the power play distribution, man, this has become so top heavy. And I understand why. I get the players that they have. But after they had a 2-minute power play that didn't go great, it's got to get frustrating to sit on the bench if you're the other skill guys. And the second power play unit, it's just like the head coach would rather burn the one timeout the team has so that he can have 13 seconds on ice with the top unit rather than put the other unit out there. You'd rather burn the timeout. The other option I think that he had available to him was to leave Draisaitl and McDavid out there and switch out the other 3. Throw Darnell Nurse and Evan Bouchard out there. Throw Dylan Holloway or Kyler Yamamoto or whoever. It's obvious. You leave Draisaitl and McDavid, but throw the other unit out there. I just think that more people need to be involved more often. And to me, that was an opportunity. It's like, top unit had their chance. You know what? You guys go and leave McDavid and Draisaitl out there if you want. Did you see during the timeout? Darnell Nurse, they were strategizing. He wasn't even paying attention. He was at the other end doing something else. And there's a disconnection that's happening with some of these players. And I think things like that contribute to it. I am probably overthinking it, and I'm guessing you're going to tell me that.
When Jay came in last year, the one thing he did was what you just talked about. He got more people involved in the game, and I remember we discussed the idea of getting 2 power plays going, of getting more guys involved in the game 5-on-5, and I think that was really the idea of the 11-7 when he went with. When he arrived, because part of that, Dave Tippett was just playing he was playing his big guns all the time, and I get it. It's a nice weapon to have, or a nice option, and it didn't. And in the end, it creates a situation where not everyone is involved in the game. Now, the problem is what comes first: everyone playing, or everyone getting going? Because if you look back at the previous game, the distribution of ice was way more even, but was everybody going? Or was it, you know what I mean? What comes first? Was everybody going and that's why they're able to do that? Or was everyone playing and that's why everybody going? Right? It's hard to know. I'm still on the train. You have to get everyone involved in the game. I feel very strongly about that. I think it helps your 5-on-5 times and all that. So, in this specific moment, I would have done exactly what Jay had done. I would have put my top line back out there on that 5-on-5 on that 5-on-4 after the timeout. But big picture, I do believe that the coaching staff needs to get more players involved in the game because that brings your energy up. And I like it when they go with the 11-7 because then you can drop guys into that fourth line and it brings that line up. And I've talked about that before. It brings those guys' energy up and they get more minutes. But you need to find a way to get everyone involved. And if you look at the ice time that, we've seen last night, it's the Z-Man, it's a little bit harder with 70, but, we have Holloway at 7 or just about 8, Puljujärvi and Costin. So it's not horrendous, right? Like it's not, they're not at 4. But it's then you have the next group up, kind of McLeod's and the Yanmarks and those guys around 13. Derek Ryan just breaks 10, but I'd like to see as many people as close to that 10-minute mark as possible. But I do believe you have to say, we're going to play you and we're going to put you with exciting players that can help you bring that energy. You bring the energy and help us 5-on-5 because it just seems like when everyone plays, the team wins. When they don't all play, it's a harder night.
Yeah. So you kind of agree with me then, or you think it was the right you think it was the right call in the moment?
No, in this specific moment, it was the right call.
Yeah.
But of a bigger conversation, I think when Jay came in, he really got everyone involved, and Derek Ryan spoke about that. Like everyone, and
I know, and that's the thing. Like, what's it like to sit there as a second power play unit? They take basically the entire first few power plays, and yes, they're scoring, and yes, they're fantastic and amazing. So you kind of go, well, yeah, of course, right? Why would they want me out there? Look at what those guys are doing. So you go, yeah, okay. Well, then they go through a minute 47 of not getting a lot done on a power play, and you're like, maybe, like 5-on-3, no, timeout. We want to keep them out there, and you're like, me. And then you don't want the team to have the attitude of sitting around waiting for the big guys to do something. So I just think there are little moments and little opportunities. Now, if it were 35 seconds of 5-on-3, yeah, no question. You rest the big guys. You call the timeout. Great It was 13 seconds, right? If you really want to, leave Connor and Leon out there, but change up the other guys. Engage Darnell Nurse. Engage Evan Bouchard. Engage Kyler Yamamoto. And give them that opportunity with the high-end skill guys there. Sometimes the messaging to me, it's kind of like you want them to be involved, but they got to sit there and watch the other guys in a lot of the key moments. A couple more comments here. To Louise Johnson mentions, Meeks says, good point, Ryan. Other guys needs to play more. Thank you, Meeks. And then Neil Garrity with a sober dose of reality says, changing the top power play in the league, ? Like, I'll add, you idiot. What are you thinking on the end of that there, Neil? And you're probably right. I'm probably overthinking it, and I think I've been proven wrong, I would say. I admit. But I liked all the mentions. People, there were lots of really good points made about that. Okay, Struddy, elsewhere in the game last night, talk about matchups, Makar versus McDavid, and seldom we get to see, what did we have, 4 of the top 6 players in the world playing last night, depending on where your list is at. But it was a treat. What did you think overall of the matchup?
I think that Makar is, Hayes and Makar are all over the ice. I love watching them play because it's so hard. And I think people understand that when Makar's playing 33 minutes a night and he's involved in every aspect of the game, right? Power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5, not just defending, but he's in offensive zone. He's jumping all over the ice, and Hayes and he are changing positions, forwards coming out. It's really hard to defend. And then on the other side, you have a talented group as well, with, especially the third and lined up the big lines, and both big lines are going at it. I mean, it's crazy to see Draisaitl, McDavid, and Hyman up against, who was it? McKinnon, Rantanen, and then was it Comfort?
Yeah, although I think they had McKinnon and Rantanen split up a reasonable amount last night as well. Rodriguez, McKinnon, Lehkonen, Rodrigue, who by the way made an unbelievable play in overtime. If you remember, he was the one down low battling for the puck with Tyson Barrie and Connor McDavid, and then he's the one that popped it out and allowed them to maintain possession. Actually, no, I'm wrong on that. That was the 4-on-4 goal that I'm talking about. The Brad Hunt goal. He did a great job down low against those two and then popped it out to the blue line. And remember how Hunt barely kept it onside? Yeah. Go back and watch that goal, the preceding 5 seconds, the job that he did against Barrie and Connor McDavid. Anyways, back to your point,
Right.
though, like these big guns don't go in toe-to-toe. The numbers here. So Makar versus McDavid at even strength. McDavid actually got the lion's share of the shot share at 61%. They were just over 6 minutes, and the shots were 5-3. But Draisaitl was only 34% of the shot share when he was out on the ice against Cale Makar last night. There was a point where Woodcroft put McDavid and Draisaitl together to play against McKinnon. I wondered if maybe that would have been a move to make earlier on in the game, considering just how much of an advantage that McKinnon line was having against Draisaitl.
Yeah, no, and it's fun. It's fun to watch those top guys. Now, this isn't exactly to your point, but I want to bring it up. Recently, I think it's since Christmas, it feels like the Oilers are adopting a type of breakout that as a D-man I wouldn't like, where the D-man gets the puck and for sure one, sometimes two forwards are just gone.
Yeah.
And it's called blowing the zone. They're gone. And then the D-men are asked to launch these long passes down, hoping that it gets to the guy. You know, it's like a Hail Mary. And I don't like it for this team. And I think there's opportunities in a game you can do it. I think it's something you can bring in every now and then, maybe off a set play in your own zone, or, you know, you say, okay, this period we're going to blow the zone all the time. But, and I see a lot of people hammering on the Oilers D as far as their breakouts. Well, you're being asked to make a 150-foot pass through, you know, 6 people with pressure, you know, and it's not that easy. I mean, yeah, okay, there's some players that can make it. Yeah, there are, but not time after time after time. I don't like it. And then the problem is that if the player does get it, oftentimes his options are limited because he's kind of on an island and he gets the puck and there's really nobody around him, right? There's no one really around him to pass to or to recover. So I don't know why this has suddenly become the way that they wanted to make plays. And just to be clear, I'm defending the defenseman here a little bit, but you know, they're not, they don't want to do this play. Like they're being forced to do it because the forwards are gone. So, you know, they can't make passes. Well, if the forwards would come back, and I understand this seems like a internal decision. If the forwards come back and the forwards a shorter pass, boom, you're gone. But when you're sending those Hail Marys, like I used to hate that.
Yeah.
It's literally, you know, and I'm not talking about off a change or 5-on-4. I'm talking 5-on-5 where everyone's on the ice and you're just ripping pucks all the way down, hoping that it gets on someone's stick. So I'm not sure what the goal is. Maybe it's to take the pressure off the Oilers D, but I think it makes it harder.
Isn't it based, though, on what the other team is doing forecheck-wise? Like, I don't think that's their natural breakout, given their choice. I think when another team shows them a certain look, they go into that style breakout, right? They try and stretch the ice out, if they push their guys up, obviously the defenders need to have people covering them, and so it's sort of this attempt to open up a little bit more space. Like, I don't think it's a breakout that they want to use every night, Struds. Isn't it contingent on what they're seeing from the opposition?
Yeah, so it's 2 nights now we've seen it. Well, I've seen it through other nights, but definitely see it like the last game. Was it Islanders? Oh my God, they all kind of. I think it was Islanders,
Isles were,
and I think they had Seattle as well. And then this one, so it's just like they're gone. They're just gone. Like they're not even looking. They're just gone. And so, yeah, like you're trying to catch other teams sleeping. Maybe you're trying to stretch them out. And I get the idea of stretching out. I do get it, but I can just say personally from my own experience, and again, not a very skilled player, but it was hard to make those plays through there. And quite frankly, I rarely make them. I'd rather just tap it to my center, it's nice and low, and then you go with speed. Because and if you do, and even when I played for it, you get that long play, you're on the island. You're almost, you know, sometimes you're standing still or there's 2 guys around you. Like, it's okay for McDavid and Leon, but the rest of the group, they're like, okay, now, but I'll just toss it in the corner. And guess what? They get possession and they come back out with the other, they being the other team.
Yeah, Mike Dirksa says, just praying to hit a stick, and it goes for icing so often. I know it's the number of icings have been frustrating for Oilers fans. One more time to the Weiss Johnson soundbox. Here's Jay Woodcroft on neutral zone play.
Tonight was a battle in the neutral zone of who was willing to get pucks behind the other team's decor. And, you know, for us, we didn't get enough pucks behind their decor to put them under any type of duress early.
Nick says Kulak is playing too much. Comment there from Nick. 16.29 last night. I don't know. I think if Brett Kulak can't give you 16.29 for what he's playing, for what he's getting paid, I think I'm not sure that they're piling too many minutes onto him. All right, Struddy, anything else you wanted to go over about last night's game?
I think that pretty much covers it. You know, and I look forward to the next battle because there's just so much talent on that ice. It's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, no, I agree. So Oilers heading out on a road trip now, and we're going to be dropping podcasts the whole way through their trip. So listen, thanks for playing along here. We were, I don't know, what are we, 36 minutes on a live stream, and I think we're still live on both platforms, so we're going to consider that a win, Struds. What did you think?
We made it through. That's all that matters. And
we made it through in one piece. So we'll do more live streams this week coming up. So just keep an eye on our Twitter feed and keep an eye on our YouTube page as well. And we'll follow the Oilers through their California road trip. And yeah, I think, what do they got? When's their next game? I get the schedule behind me. Monday against the Kings, Wednesday against the Ducks, Friday against the Sharks, and then Saturday against the Golden Knights. So real important little trip here, some division matchups, and it'll be an important week. Thanks, Struds. Appreciate it, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a good Sunday, everybody.
All right. Cheers, pal. That is Jason Strudwick. Okay, folks, that'll wrap up the live stream and the podcast. Thank you for playing along, for your participation. Really appreciate it. Do us a favor. Go leave us a review on, say, iTunes if you get a chance. Want to hear what you think about our podcast and our live streams. Good, bad, indifferent. We want to hear the honest truth. So drop us a review. That helps us out a lot. A big thanks to our sponsors here for our short shifts, although this one wasn't that short. Mid-City Construction Management. We greatly appreciate their involvement. And, of course, our good friends over at Weiss Johnson. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, folks. Have a fantastic day, and we'll talk real soon. Cheers.